Welcome back to another video, guys. My name is Ben from Flow Brackets. Today, we've finally got in a Tesla Model Y Juniper, and a lot of people have been asking for our mounting solutions for this, only because the OEM plinth or factory mounting box is oversized and ugly. So we've come up with two parts, a small miniature plinth and a large miniature plinth, which will be used in two different scenarios. So stay tuned and I'll show you which one suits which plate better. The first thing that we're going to do is remove the number plate so that we can get access to the screws holding on the OEM plinth, and then I can show you what we're up against. So first, let's take this off. One screw here, one screw here, and then we have access to these two bolts, and you'll need a 10mm socket to undo that bolt. All right, I know that I said 10mm, but I actually meant 8mm. Once you back out the bolts all the way, you can finally remove your OEM ugly plinth. So now that we've removed the OEM plinth, I'd like you to keep these two bolts that came out of those two holes and put them aside for later. I'll just give you a brief explanation of our parts before we move on to the next step. We've created two parts, one large plinth and one small plinth. So the large plinth design goes back into the OEM holes, and you can reuse the bolt that came out of that hole to install it back on. But we've also realized that this plinth is quite long, only because it has to be to go to the same OEM holes. And this plinth will be slightly longer than some of the smaller footprint number plates. So we've come up with a smaller plinth that doesn't go to those two holes. It'll go somewhere here, but you will need to drill two holes, and I'll show you how to get that done a little bit later. All right, so now that you removed the OEM plinth, I want you to keep the screws that came out of those holes and put them aside for later. But before we get on to the next step of installing everything, I'd like to explain a little bit about our design and our thought process behind the two different parts and why we actually have made two different parts. So the first part we're going to explain about is the large plinth or the long plinth. This design was to go to the two OEM holes so there will be no modification required, and you can still use the original bolt that came out of that hole to affix this to the bumper. And from there, you can run any number plate bracket onto these brass fittings. Now, in this scenario, this would probably suit the majority of plates that are large enough to cover everything, such as the 6-character slimline. But in the event that you choose a smaller footprint number plate like this 3 to 4 character, you're still going to see it because those two holes or factory holes are outside the number plate footprint. And same for smaller footprints like this Heritage 80. And that is why we've created a small plinth that goes there. Now, this won't go to the two OEM holes. You will have to drill two extras and then plug up these two holes neatly. And I'll show you how to get that done a little bit later using our drilling template. All right, so the first one that we're going to install is the large plinth. Grab the OEM bolt that came out of the same OEM hole and just install it again. No drilling required, no modification required. It fits perfectly like a glove. All right, so you must be wondering why there's an extra two holes here. We are going to be supplying 4 sets of screws that go with this kit. Now, they're made out of black stainless steel and they are self-tapping, but we always recommend that you pilot drill these holes first. Now, if you don't feel that this is strong enough with the two OEM bolts, you can use a replacement screw to go into the OEM holes. And if you still don't think it's strong enough, you can then put in another screw here. All right, so before we move on to the next step, let me explain a little bit more about the miniature plinth and its two-part mounting solution. These miniature plinths, they are a two-part mounting solution. So the miniature plinths cannot be bought on its own. You have to buy it in conjunction with a number plate bracket to complete a two-part mounting solution. And when I say matching number plate bracket, that means that you need to get the matching number plate bracket that matches the style and size of your number plate. For example, if you had heritage six-digit heritage plates, then you would get the 6-digit heritage number plate bracket and bolt it onto those brass fittings in any location you wanted. Or if you had Euro plates, you get the Euro premium bracket. If you had standard plates, you'd get the standard bracket. If you had slim lines, you would get the SL2 slimline bracket. If you had 3 to 4 character slimlines, you'd get the 3 to 4 character slimline bracket. If you had heritage 3 digits, 2 digits, or 1 digit, then you will have to get a custom made bracket, which is something that we do here. And also New Zealand. If you guys have New Zealand plates, we've got a New Zealand slimline and a New Zealand standard bracket that will also go to this miniature plinth. Now, it'd be good to note that the smaller variants will be smaller than the large plinth, and this is why we've made a smaller plinth for this reason, including the 3 to 4 character slimlines in Victoria. You will see a bit of that plinth on either side. You can choose to run it that way if you want, but I will be showing you how the miniature one works, which is much neater. This is our Euro premium bracket to suit Euro plates, the large one. And this is our standard bracket to fit standard number plates. This is our SL2 slimline bracket, which suits almost every slimline plate in Australia, except for New South Wales and maybe one of the variants of the South Australian plates. Now we're getting up to the smaller variant plates. This is the 3 to 4 character on the large plinth. I'll just show you how this will look. This is probably not the way that I would do it, but if you're adverse to drilling holes into your car, then this might be the solution for you. And for the Kiwis out there, we've got a slimline bracket or a slim bracket for your brand new slim plates that have just been released. For those wanting to run signature plates onto a Tesla Model Y Juniper, this is how it's going to look on a large plinth. Alright, so now that I've shown you the large miniature plinth, let me explain how the small miniature plinth works. Now, it'd be good to note that the large plinth will fit all the brackets, but when you start moving down towards the smaller footprint number plates, you will see it on each side, which I have explained before. The small one is to prevent you from seeing that, but the compromise will be that you will have these two holes that you'll need to plug up. So let me show you how to install this and how much better it'll look with a miniature plinth small. All right, so now to install this small miniature plinth, we're going to be supplying you with this drilling template. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but this drilling template will go to the 2 OEM holes, and we're going to insert our OEM bolt into that same hole. And once you do that, it'll give you the 2 locations to drill out the new holes. Now that you've got the drilling template on, you can mark out your 2 holes that needs to be drilled and then take off the drilling template. So the next step will be, after you've marked out the 2 holes using the drilling template provided, will be to use a 3mm drill bit to pilot hole those 2 holes and then send in the 2 screws so that you can mount your miniature plinth on. Now, the best case scenario for you owners will be to ask Tesla, if you're buying a brand new car and haven't taken delivery of it yet, not to install the big OEM ugly box from Tesla so that you can do this. The only problem that you're going to have is that you won't have any reference points to align this. So it'll be up to you for you to measure from here to here, here to here, and from left to right to get those 2 dots center so that you can install that. If you do need some help and you are in Victoria, come and see us and we'll do it for you. All right, enough talking. Let's grab our 3mm drill bit and let's pilot hole this little marking that we've made. Fun fact, guys, these 2 holes that install the small plinth also line up with these 2 holes in the large plinth. Then just use the screws provided in the kit to install the miniature plinth small version. You must be wondering, what do I do with the leftover holes? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Before we install our bracket, these little plug-up dress bolts will be provided in the kit. All you need to do is screw it in. Let's reinstall this 3 to 4 character slimline bracket to show you how to look on the miniature plinth small. Now with signature plates on with the small plinth again. And this is how signature plates look with our miniature plinth small version. And for the purposes of this exercise, we're going to be using our custom-made aluminium bracket for our Heritage Plate 80. Now, this isn't finished yet, it hasn't been anodized yet. All of our brackets are actually made out of aluminium and then anodized black. I just haven't had this anodized or powder coated. But for today, the customer wants to leave here with 3 to 4 character slimlines. So we're bolting on our 3 to 4 character slimline bracket onto a miniature plinth small. Now the beauty of our bracket system is that we've created an ecosystem. So this customer has actually optioned for security screw fittings, which is an anti-theft fitting, makes it harder for thieves to steal your number plate. And they're also compatible with both Ultrex and Kingpin covers. Today, this customer is running Kingpin covers with security screws. And that's how you do a OEM plinth delete on a Tesla Model Y Juniper. Now, I know that was a lot of information to take in, so let me summarize a few things for you. Firstly, the miniature plinths that we sell is a 2-part mounting solution. So whether it be the small one or the large one, you can't buy them separately. You have to buy them with a matching number plate bracket, a bracket that suits the style and size of your number plate. And this is where it gets a bit subjective and opinionated of which plinth you should get, whether it be a small plinth, which is currently installed on the car, or a large one. The large one is more suited to the larger number plates, and it does screw into the OEM holes in the car. If your plinth has already been installed, you can actually use the factory screws to go back into the same hole. No drilling, no modification required. Now, the small plinth, which is more suited to the smaller footprint number plates, heritage, signature, 3 to 4 character, you will have to drill 2 extra holes using our drilling template supplied. That is if the box has already been installed and you can use those 2 outer holes as a reference. Now, what I'm suggesting to people, if they are picking up a brand new car, request Tesla not to install this box so that you can run the smaller plinth. But that also brings a few more challenges and problems. You will have to measure up yourself on where that little plinth sits, but at least you have a blank canvas to work on, and I think that, in my opinion, is far better. So I hope you found this video useful, guys, and thanks for watching.